page was burning up yesterday. There's fear the price of avocados could go through the roof if we close the Mexican border. Can our economy survive?
Well, that's interesting because, we're talking before we went on the air about the market shooting up this morning and why. And, I heard the president say this morning that he wasn't really concerned about China as he was the border right now. And he's sending all these people to the border to see what we can get fixed.
Yeah, the threat to close the border with Mexico just about the time the rumors start flying that things are going well in the talks with China. There are times you start figuring we can't walk and chew gum at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how everything plays out. But definitely, those are two hot spots that we are still dealing with.
Absolutely, and it's not going to help the volatility of the stock market one tiny little bit. Something that also might cause some hiccups. We got the first of our three big job reports this morning. This one was ADP, the big employment or the big payroll service. And while their numbers aren't very often right, they're not bad on predicting trends. And if they do, this 1 month data point is not going to be a fun one when the big figures come out, are they?
No, it's really not. When we look at where we ended up, they ended up private payrolls up 129,000 for March. That's way off what was expected. ADP and the guys at Moody's Analytics, they expected 173,000 new jobs. Now they did revise up the month before by about 14,000, but that wasn't a big deal. Not much there. So evidently that's the worst month we've seen since September of 2017.
Yeah, worse yet, it's a Grand Canyon-esque miss from what was expected. So I'm looking at futures that are generally green this morning, and boy, it's got to be optimism on trade because right now the first data point on the job picture is not a solid one, is it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think I saw a headline somewhere that said we've got the deal 90% done with the trade talks with China.
And the word is the trade minister for China is going to be taking a trip over here over the next couple of weeks, and that makes hope spring even more eternal down the line. One of your analysts was saying that we could very well be cruising for a bruising as far as the recession is concerned, right?
Well, not just analysts, but I've got watching several money managers come out and said that the headlines are stocks are vulnerable to a correction. And we've been saying that for a while now. But evidently we've not been able to make it there yet.
Yeah, no big surprise. We're overdue for a couple of them in every given year. And while we've had one substantial one this year so far, well, we're a full quarter into recovering from it now. And, well, doggone it all, there is always that possibility. And things are kind of floating along in a weird fashion with all the macro figures we're getting saying basically something else you and I have been saying for like 6 months. The economy's still growing, just not as fast as the upward momentum on the stocks would indicate.
Yeah, well, that's right, Dave. And I think the other thing that they're pointing to is they believe, a lot of these money managers and economists believe that the earnings report we're going to get over the next couple months for the first quarter are going to indicate the same thing, that there's going to be a slowing. And I believe if that happens, then we could see this market start to back off some because it's all predicated on what are the companies doing for me now, and if we didn't do well last quarter, then looking forward is not good either. Then we could see some misses there.
And if we do level off in terms of corporate profits from a weak earnings season this year, about the best you can hope for is to take the gains and hold on to them and plateau on the market, which I think they used to call that a soft landing, didn't they?
Yeah, we can hope for a soft landing.
Understood. Early indications, and it's way early on earnings season, far too early to get a trend. We do have a few reports out this morning, and I gather we got kind of a mixed bag already today, right?
We do. Let's start with the bad first, and that's GameStop. We talked about them coming out yesterday after the market closed. And I had to really do some digging because I had one source said they beat, one source said they missed substantially. So I went to a third source. And so it seems like the source that said they missed was right. And so they didn't quite come up to snuff this last quarter. From an adjusted standpoint, they were expected to come in at $1.58, and they missed by about, 15 cents, 14 cents. It came in at $1.45. And so a pretty big miss there. And
Yeah.
and they've also said that, hey, look, sales are going to be down 5 to 10% this next quarter.
Game
For the
had to do some reinventing of themselves anyway, because as online gaming has gotten more popular, the idea of selling those Atari game boxes like they used to do just ain't the business plan anymore. So this has been a process we've been watching for a few quarters here.
Yeah, it is. And right now they're trading down 12.5%. At this point, they would open almost 18% below their 52-week low.
Millennials got to go buy some more video games, don't
You
they?
got to do something.
Yeah. Other indications this morning.
So the other one we talked about a lot yesterday was Dave and Buster's coming out today, and they had a pretty good quarter. They came in about 12 cents ahead of estimates. You know, I don't know if you call them a restaurant chain or if you call them a gaming chain, but they've taken the restaurant business and the entertainment business and kind of put them together, and they had a good quarter. Their same store restaurant sales were up 2.9%. That was better than expected, and they're getting some good rebound off their stock today. They're up getting close to 7.5% this morning.
Cool. I guess you can do the Showbiz Pizza Palace deal with grown-ups and have it work, huh?
Yeah, if you have alcoholic beverages, you can get adults there pretty much anytime.
Yeah, seems to work that way. Early indications this morning. I know you told me we had one or two stocks that we had earlier this morning.
We did. We have the one Signet Jewelers,
Okay.
which is that's the major K Jewelers, all those guys, and they beat pretty well. They came in at 396 a share. They're expected to come in at 382. Revenue top forecast, but their same store sales declined 2% during the quarter. And that was a little bit bigger than what was expected. And so even though they did well on two fronts, they missed on the one. And so they're trading down about 1.5% this morning.
Which kind of hits the atmosphere of the last couple of quarters. You pretty well got a bat on all cylinders before the investors are happy. Have any of your analysts said anything about whether there's a break point on the price of oil? Because between the sanctions on Iran, the sanctions and the upset in Venezuela, the growth in China, and the production decrease in OPEC, I'm noticing that the price of oil is still going up again this morning. Is there any conventional wisdom as to when this is actually going to start impacting the market?
I've not seen anything or read anything about oil. It's not been, even though the price keeps going up, I've not seen any big headlines on oil.
Because I noticed we were looking at $62.60 a barrel this morning, and you might have an updated number because they change almost by the second. And at some point in time, I got to believe that's going to start hitting transportation stocks, and we're going to start hearing that as being the reason that, Index A or Index B has fallen. Evidently, we're not.
That's a good point, Dave. That's a good point because as oil prices go up, that means diesel price is going to go up, fuel costs are going to go up. That means transportation costs are going to go up, and ultimately, you and I have to pay that price at the store. And so, as prices go up and people on budgets, they tend to have to buy less.
Thought came to my mind because it was the lead story on one of my tip sheets this morning. Just oil prices resuming higher, and I know you watch a lot more analysts than I do. I thought somebody might have come up with a conventional wisdom break point as to when it might impact. We haven't gotten that high yet, huh?
No, I guess not. I mean, we're still, I don't know, what the last year, what's the high been? $70 a barrel in the last year, maybe a little bit more?
I suppose everything being relative, 62 isn't the worst case scenario. It just isn't what we have in mind, right?
Well, it's not what we like to see at the gas pump.
No, not one tiny little bit. So we're sitting there with a mixed bag of reports, a not good employment report this morning. My instinct is we may want to hold our hats a little bit for the next 2 days, but 45 minutes before we open, what do the trends look like so far this morning, Phillip?
Well, I'm going to say, Dave, the traders are pretty active this morning. They're pushing everything up and well into the green by 0.5% or better. The Dow's bouncing back 131 points, which is 50 basis points, 0.5%. S&P 500 is up 18 3/4, and the Nasdaq's up 51 3/4. So all three indexes doing well this morning. Gold's bouncing back. It's still not at 1,300. It's at $1,297 an ounce. And we've got silver back over $15 an ounce to 15.07. And then, like you said, crude oil is back up $62.62 a barrel right now.
Which evidently isn't enough to excite the stock market yet, which I'll consider good news. I may not like the gas pump, but at the very least, I'm not worried about my stocks yet on that, right?
Exactly. So, we have to wait and see what, there's just a lot of factors with oil right now, right? And we've got all the different countries having issues, and our production, I don't know, crude oil inventory, I think comes out today or tomorrow, maybe.
I think so, yeah. And somebody was complaining about prices added to the fact. It occurred to me a few days ago. This is also that time of the year where they shut down some refineries to retool them for the summer fuels out in California. So there's one more thing messing with our gas prices. Overseas markets, we're looking at a buying frenzy over in Asia. The index is there up by over 1% this morning off of those trade rumors. Europe also generally following suit and up this morning, 45 minutes before we start trading. Phillip, somebody need advice in order to stabilize retirement, maybe make some hay out of it if you're young enough, because there are opportunities. How would I find you on the phone?
Give us a call at 382-0037. Follow us on our website at statlerfinancial.com. Hey, like our page on Facebook and follow us there at Statler Financial Services, and then join us every weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, noon on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings on News Talk 730.
And, of course, streaming at newstalk730am.com, because we're real darn proud of that fact, all right?
All right, buddy. You take care. I'll talk to you in the morning.
Catch you in the morning. Thank you so much. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.